Some disclaimers before we begin. 1. There may be some background noise, and 2. This is being recorded live, so expect some mistakes. Chapter 19. Retired. Frank. You want to open with a joke? Joe suggested, leaning back in his chair and taking a sip of his maximum mocha. We were at the meat locker trying to get some studying done. It dissolves the audience, puts them on your side. As opposed to whose side? I asked, my pencil hovering over my notebook. What do flies wear on their feet? I wrote just beneath the title of my newly assigned speech. Answer. Shoes. Joe leaned over and read what I jotted down. I'd keep thinking. Right. Well, luckily I had a whole 2 weeks left to work on this one. Miss Jones forgiving me for going off on a tangent during my last speech. She understood that I was trying to vanquish a long-time Bayport menace. She hadn't completely let me off the hook, though. I'd been assigned a new speech. Topic, justice. Joe suddenly grabbed his phone from where it sat on the table. Oh, he said, staring into the screen. I just got service. Look, I have a voicemail. Some people ignore their phones while they're studying, I pointed out. Some people went on the receiving end of a wink from that cute Daisy Rodriguez in algebra this morning, Joe fired back, going into his voicemail. Why, yes, Daisy, I would be willing to explain parabolas in a closer setting. Oh. Joe wrinkled his nose and replayed the message on speakerphone. We were the only two people in the locker's back room. Hi, Joe. Listen, this is Megan Walensky. You know, Spanish class. Anyway, I'm calling because I have a problem that I think, you and your brother could help me with. She paused and dropped her voice to a whisper. I heard what he did for Sherelle Bunyan. Her voice rose back to normal level. Anyway, call me back. We can meet and I'll, tell you all about it. Thanks. Joe looked at me unhappily. Principal Gorse was in jail, awaiting trial. It took some convincing, but Seth, Neil, and Pat had all gone on record with their stories. Olaf came through with some forensic evidence that tied Gorse to the explosion. That was all good news, of course. The bad news is that Frank and I had been called into Chief Gomez's office with our dad to go over the deal again in excruciating detail. We were being watched now, he told us. No more shenanigans and absolutely no more investigating. We were well and truly retired. I looked at Joe sadly, then glanced at the time on his phone. We'd better go, I said. Aunt Trudy's making eggplant curry tonight, and you know she's still mad at us for lying to her about my ankle. Joe nodded and wordlessly put his phone in his pocket. I picked up my notebook, and as I was putting it into my backpack, a tiny piece of paper fluttered out and landed on the table. It landed face up, staring back at us like an accusation. The red arrow. I looked at Joe. Neither of us said anything for a minute. Was this real, or was somebody messing with us? Who? He asked. I shook my head. Could be anybody, I said. I had this notebook at school all day, every class. His brows furrowed. It has to be a stupid joke, right? I didn't say anything. I grabbed the paper and tossed it in a nearby trash can. I wanted to make a statement in case anybody was watching. Frank and Joe Hardy were not controlled by the red arrow. Let's go, I said to Joe. Together we hoisted our book bags onto our backs and sauntered out through the main room and into the sunny air. Joe pulled his phone out of his pocket and kept playing with it the whole way to the car, clicking it on, clicking it off, checking for more messages, fiddling with the volume. When we climbed into the car and shut our doors, I put the key in the ignition and turned to him. You going to call her back? Joe looked at me, hopeful. Should we? I nodded. There was no use denying it. Sleuthing was in our blood. Joe grinned and dialed the phone. He waited a few seconds for an answer, then said, Hey, Megan, it's Joe Hardy returning your call. I heard you have a problem that my brother and I might be able to help you with.